One man remained missing after flash flooding tore down historic Main Street in Ellicott City, Maryland, and left the community heartbroken at seeing severe damage less than 2 years after another devastating flood. County Executive Allan Kittleman said Monday morning that his priorities are finding the missing man and assessing the condition of buildings that house shops, restaurants, and families. The Patapsco River burst its banks and swept down the main street of the town, about 20 kilometers west of Baltimore. "We are certainly making every effort to locate that individual," he said. Howard County Police identified him Monday as 39-year-old Severn resident Edison Hermond, an active member of the Army National Guard. Hermond was reported missing to police about 12:30 a.m. Monday, but has not been seen since about 5:20 p.m. At the height of the flooding, when raging, brown waters ripped through the town. Same area flooded 2 years ago. The area remained blocked off Monday, even to residents and business owners, as Kittleman surveyed the debris. "If you look at the devastation and the damage, I would certainly say it's worse than 2016, he said. "We've had areas that were not even damaged at all 2 years ago terribly damaged this time." At a news conference Sunday night, Kittleman and Maryland Gov. Larry Hogan vowed to help people rebuild their lives again. "We will be there for them as we were in 2016, Kittleman said. Hogan promised, "Every bit of assistance we possibly can. They say this is a once every 1,000-year flood and we've had 2 of them in 2 years, Hogan said. Sunday's flooding swept away parked cars in the city, which sits along the west bank of the Patapsco River. Residents gathered by a bridge to look at cars left crumpled in one of the tributaries of the Patapsco River that burst its banks as it channeled through historic Main Street in Ellicott City, Maryland. David McFadden, Associated Press, Jessica, a server at Pure Wine Cafe on the city's Main Street, told the Baltimore Sun that she watched as gushing waters swept 3 or 4 parked cars down the street. "It's significantly higher than it was before," she told the newspaper, comparing the floodwaters to those of 2016. Mike Musili, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Sterling, Virginia, said Sunday it was too early to make comparisons between the 2 floods. But he said both were devastating. In the July 2016 storm, Ellicott City received 17 centimeters of rain over a 2 to 3 hour period. On Sunday, the community received nearly 20.32 centimeters of rain over a 6-hour period, but most of it fell during an intense 3-hour period, Musili said. Sunday's destructive flooding left the former mill town heartbroken as it had bounded back from another destructive storm less than 2 years ago. David McFadden, Associated Press, "In a normal heavy rain event, you wouldn't see this amount of flooding, where you see cars floating down the road," Musili said. "This was a true flash flood. Some people reported hearing a blaring alarm during the flooding. Others said they gathered in the second story of a building and anxiously watched the seething waters. One sight during the flood was handmade. White flag hung from an upper story of a Main Street building bearing the letters SOS, "If you are trapped, we are coming," the Howard County Department of Fire and Rescue Services tweeted at one point. Was enough done to contain flooding. Ellicott City has been rebuilding since the 2016 flooding damaged and destroyed businesses. Local officials recently said 96% of the businesses were back in operation and more than 20 new businesses had again opened in the Main Street area. Just 2 weeks ago, Hogan announced that the Federal Emergency Management Agency had awarded the state and county more than $1 million to pay for projects aimed at reducing the flood risk in areas around Main Street. Some people are already asking whether enough was done after the last flood to prevent a similar catastrophe. Hogan said temporary improvements were in place and more things were in the works to reduce the community's vulnerabilities. But he said big changes take time, and no one expected such a huge flood so soon after 2016.